There is a particular predicament that one can find oneself in when one practices the very most powerful intuitive tool sets. And I'm going to tell you about an aspect of this that I have been navigating now for a number of years and continues ongoing in some very interesting ways. If you are very severely affected by conditions of disablement, by long-term compounded injuries, by conditions that are often not recognized in your environments, conditions that are often not recognized in medical environments or healthcare environments or support environments. Professional networks often aren't trained about the conditions that your physical body is navigating. It is possible for you, as I have done, to operate in a way that radically increases your function. And yet, it may not give you total control over your function. It may just give you amazing powers of functioning where you wouldn't otherwise have been able to function. And that's what's happened for me, is that the practices that we've developed in the Intuitive Network, the tool sets that we discuss and we advance together, they can give us superpowers so that suddenly we can do something where we couldn't do it before. And I am using so many of these practices, having been at the core of developing them for the past decade or so, longer if you count differently. And I've been in these situations where I always have to optimize my function. If I can do something, if it's important to do that thing, then I've got to do it. But part of the ramifications of doing this where it is most needed is that people can think that you're functioning normatively. They can think that you're functioning in a way that is like the way they're functioning. And the disability circumstances can become more invisible than before. They can become a lot less scrutable, even to people who are looking for them. They say, well, you look fine. You must be functioning normally. Like there seems to be no problem. And in order to function at your absolute best at any moment that function is required, certainly there are a lot of circumstances where function is required, your survival requires you to be able to function, you have to lean in to your best appearance of functioning so that you can experience your best functioning. And when people are looking for signs of injury, signs of disablement, signs of hardship, and they don't see those signs, they think that that's not happening. They think it's not there. And so I am suddenly broadcasting video at a time when I have said no broadcasting of video is going to happen. And we're still in a circumstance where no broadcasting of video is going to happen, except right this moment, I am broadcasting video because that is suddenly what the body said. This is the thing that I can do best. This is the thing that most needs to happen. This is the time to create a succinct description to the best of my ability of this particular ramification of practicing intuitive tool sets, which give us a huge amount of power and capacity and can also end up hiding the rest of what we're going through in a way that can only be remedied by producing more public media to help more people understand what is hidden, what is invisible. These groups of intuitive invisibles, of which I am certainly the most visible one, we've been dealing with this circumstance for a long time. Oh my gosh, I saw someone just pop into this. Okay, let's do it. La, 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 la. Do. What?
If this is the only way I get to talk to you, I will take it.
What? What's going on? So this is This is meant to be an extremely succinct broadcast because my physical body has a certain specific capacity, and I want people to understand how powerful it is to flow with it, but also to not overdo it based on expectations. So my amazing colleague Ryan Erickson is here with me suddenly, spontaneously. What time is it this morning? And there might be a pull to be like, okay, now I need to be what other people expect of me, and what the normative culture says. Well, you better be able to do this if you can do this. And I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take care of my body. So we've got this short little broadcast, and I'm so grateful I can talk to my colleague for a few minutes of it. Wow. I see your label says intruder.
Yeah, I had to do something funny to be here.
So many people would look at this situation and they go, oh, she's broadcasting again. No, she's not. This isn't even happening, except that there will be a record of it and we can all benefit from it. And that's something that we've had to come to understand in the Intuitive Network. If you use intuitive tool sets that increase people's capacity when they're totally left out of society, they're economically excluded, they're assumed to be useless. They're like, oh, it's so sad what's happening to those people. It's too bad. It's too bad that, I don't know how to think about that. I don't know how to solve that. It's too bad those people over there who aren't part of our lives. Ryan Erickson has been having some very interesting conversations on his platforms. Ryan, if you want to put something up on the screen, go ahead and do it. I'm not going to try to do it. Okay. There was a conversation at the end of March with Peter Block. And Peter Block's work is extremely important in this whole panoply because it often asks the question, how are we in community, in relationship with those who are most invisible, those who are most excluded? And what we are here describing here this morning, suddenly, not only I, is that we can give the most invisible and hardship affected people the power to suddenly have function and capacity they don't have otherwise, as long as we check our normative expectations of what that means and we learn from them what it means for them and what their needs are. And we are gentle about like, well, is this possible or is this possible? And what do you need to make this more of a daily occurrence? What do you, Megan Elizabeth, need in order to be able to use these functions more so that your life is better and stronger and more resilient? So we are practicing this in the Intuitive Network and gradually helping more others understand the circumstances. And wow, Ryan, thank you for there's so much that I want to share with people about the work you've been doing in your environments. And I know that one way or another, we're going to do more of that because you have a lot of gorgeous touch points that fit with this. And when we are looking at corporate environments, when we're looking at many kinds of business environments, what we're often looking at is we're looking at those, oh, here's the normative expectations that these environments have. Why exclude so much of the community body from productivity and joy and creative innovation by making assumptions we don't need to make,
I wanted, thank you for allowing me to, bringing me on screen I was not an invitation. It was just hey, I was going to be in here training with someone else on StreamYard, and oh my gosh, someone's in the studio already. And just hearing what you've got there, definitely that last piece about, and I'm going to kind of take that apart a little bit, but tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time, Niels Flagging and I will be hosting Peter Block again to talk about his newest book, Activating the Common Good. And one of the core parts of that book is it starts off, the sample starts off with a heading that says, "We are not divided." Right? So as soon as I read that sample, okay, so I see we are not divided. Okay, what are you talking about? Everybody talks about division and being divided. And the core tenet there is this balance between what he calls the business perspective, being productive, being efficient, scaling and speeding along, and riding the wave of the system, and attempting to be ethical and attempting to be sustainable or what have you within that system. And the alternative narrative, see, business perspective is this one narrative, and that he calls it basically that's kind of like everything we talk about in the now. And the common good perspective is something entirely different, right? And again, commoning in the commons is a whole other huge topic, but the idea of that a new narrative that doesn't focus on efficiency and productivity and 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 is fundamentally different, that is eschewed by the narratives institutions that are authorized to have broadcast airtime and tooling for society.
Mhm.
And there are fields of endeavor that support the business perspective, right? So there is the field of journalism, the storytelling about that. What are the stories that we hear? The architecture perspective, which is land use, which is the built environment around us, where we live, how we do things. Religion, which is kind of a hot button, what or associational life, what is, and again, we talk about religion, spirituality, kind of other thing. And I know this is your show. I'm gonna hop off in just a moment. And so journalism, architecture, religion, and neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right. So what are these parts of the common good? What is the together? What is the not divided? The othering, you're out there. Oh, I can help those people. I won't. I know I'm not going to help those people. This is a business perspective talking. And so
one of the things that, and I mean, wow, do we need to talk so much more about this? I think divine timing, I think divine providence. It's like we're going to let it flow and we're going to find out what happens. But
telepathy,
maybe. One of the things that we're going to unfold more in the future, and that I want to bring some of these conversations from our groups, Ryan, to talk with you and others about, also for Upmarket Magazine, which we have a lot of material that we have to unfold into public. One of the things I'm looking forward to talk about that we won't cover today is that we have found in Peter Block's work, I want to absorb all of it, but like the parts of it that we've been able to absorb in groups and that I've been able to absorb, we see another kind of efficiency built into those approaches. And often that is not recognized. There's a language bridging that occurs. There's a collaborative discovery that occurs where the values of business as they have been interpreted one way. And that when we practice radical inclusion in certain ways, when we practice being together to meet challenges in certain ways, we find out that the business values we've been taught actually were just a little bit, they were miscalibrated. And that we can recalibrate them for the whole community body and for the social good in a way that serves those business values more honorably than before. So I'm just going to leave that there, and I'm going to wrap us up because I'm going to go take care of my body. Ryan Erickson, thank you so much for joining us.
You're quite welcome.
Everyone has a wonderful morning. Holy moly, what magic occurs. Here we are. There we've been. I'm going to go. See you soon.